Israel.
Israel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, that's a really good question, Israel. Are we back on? Is that our back on?
The battery's running low.
Okay, so the ability to change your mind about an issue in the face of a convincing argument is the virtue of intellectual integrity, right? So if you realize, oh my gosh, my argument sucks, theirs looks strong, and you're willing to change your mind, that's a good thing. That's a virtue. And the world needs very much more of this, and a whole lot less cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is a belief system that's internally inconsistent but affirmed nonetheless. Okay. Now, Israel asked the question, is it ever the case that two people have strong arguments that reach opposite conclusions? Well, this is what I would say. We could have two arguments that reach opposite conclusions, like one says P and the other one says not P. And this is what I'm going to say. P and not P cannot be true at the same time. One of them is wrong. And so you just need to dig deeper to figure out which of the two is wrong. Does everybody understand that? Yes.
It's like conclusions cannot be opinions.
I don't know what you mean by opinions. Conclusions are statements,
I know, but
and
like,
if you believe in it, it is your opinion, okay? And is your opinion true or false? What evidence do you have to offer that it is true? Do you understand what I'm saying?
So it's basically whoever can provide evidence to back up their claim.
That's the rational thing to believe in. That's what I'm saying. Does everybody understand that? Okay, and we're going to come back to this in a moment. Okay, indicator words on page 4 right now. There are certain words and phrases that you should be on the lookout for because they signal the existence of an argument, and they also signal the existence of the conclusion and or where the premises are located. At the top of page 4, you see a box that has conclusion indicators, right? And there's like therefore, thus, consequently, accordingly, so, blah, blah, blah. All those words and phrases are conclusion indicators. I have a C placed where the conclusion would be relative to the indicator word. Does everybody understand that? And a P appears where a premise or premises would be located. Everybody got that? Okay. Although the above words and phrases usually signal the existence of a conclusion and therefore an argument, there are no guarantees that you're dealing with an argument. You still must ask whether some uncertain claim is being supported by evidence. If not, you have found an indicator word, but it's not part of an argument. For example, so I'm saying, look for indicator words, probably an argument, but there are exceptions, okay? I'm reading passage 4, and Tom says, Bob, why didn't you go to the concert last night? And Bob says, I had the flu, therefore I didn't go, okay? Now, therefore is an indicator word, and what follows therefore is supposed to be the conclusion, okay? So the conclusion is I didn't go. But remember, if you're making an argument, you're trying to prove something, okay? And that you're trying to prove something means that whether or not it's true is unknown or debated. Does everybody understand that? But in this case, we already know that what? Bob didn't go. Does everybody understand that? So it can't be the case that Bob's trying to prove that he didn't go. He's doing what? Explaining why he didn't go. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So explanations often are mistaken for arguments. Ask yourself, is the would-be conclusion something that's generally accepted as true? If the answer to that is yes, then it's an explanation and not an argument. Okay. So, just in general, so it's like this. If we have A, therefore B, our indicator word chart tells us that this is the possible conclusion, right? And so we would ask this, is B accepted as true or probably true? If yes, then explanation. If no, argument. Everybody understand that? Okay. Now, it can get really tricky in the following way. Whether or not something is an explanation or an argument might depend on the amount of background knowledge the person has, okay? So let me ask you this question. Is it a good, suppose that your house or whatever is infested with rats, mice. Is it a good idea to use poison to exterminate the rodents? Anybody? No one's had rat infestation?
I mean, it depends if you have children in the house. or
Okay,
pets.
everybody's worried about the children eating the rat poison, right? Or my cat or dog, right? Okay, suppose that there's no children or animals possibly involved. Is it a good idea to use poison to try to exterminate rats and stuff? Israel?
No, sir.
Why not?
Considering that rats are living creatures, they move, they have the ability to go to on your food or on your refrigerator or places that you reach often.
Well, okay, they're mobile, but that I didn't understand why. Anyone? Yes.
You could argue that it's inhumane to do that.
Oh, let's not give a rat's ass about rats, okay? Look, people, they eat the poison. Do they drop over dead right there? What do?
They
They
traveling, probably
Right.
back into the wall. to die.
Right, and they die in your wall. Now, what do dead rats smell like?
Oh, wow.
Yes, and they stink for a long time. So either you're gonna live with this stench for a long time, or you're gonna have to bust open the wall to get the damn rat out, right? Okay, if you didn't know that, you know, rats will eat the poison and then go die in your wall, you might see the don't use poison about rats and stuff as an argument, right? But if you know that, if you've had dealings with rats before, you would understand it as an explanation. Does everybody got that? So sometimes whether or not it's an argument or an explanation seen as an argument or explanation depends on how much background knowledge the person has. Does everybody understand that? So this might be known to be true by some people, but not others. And so those people take it as an argument, but people who know that it's true will take it as an explanation. For testing purposes, I'll try to make sure it's, if I want an explanation, it's something that everybody knows to be true. Okay. All right. So on the bottom of page 4, we have premise indicators. Okay. So those are words and phrases that signal the existence of a premise. So the premise is to the right of those expressions, right? And that means what comes before is the conclusion. Does everybody understand that? Okay. But that's not a guarantee that you're dealing with an argument, right? Consider passage 5. I'm on page 5. This is Tom and Bob. What's up, Bob? Not much. What's up with you? I just came from the free speech area where I heard an interesting argument that got me thinking. What was it? Tom says, well, suppose that God is omniscient. That would mean that he would know what I was going to do before I did it, but if he knows what I'm going to do before I do it, how can I not do it? I can't. I must do it. But if I must do it, then I have no free will. Hence, Christianity makes no sense because it maintains that God is omniscient and that we have free will. Argument or not? Notice there's a whole bunch of indicator words in there, like hence and because. People? Oh, and now I can see you guys. Anyone?
I wouldn't say he's making an argument.
You're gonna say he's making an argument.
I wouldn't say. He
Why not?
He didn't explain it. He isn't trying to prove it.
He's not, right? There is an argument there, but he's not behind the argument. He's simply what? Reporting the argument. Does everybody understand that? So the report of an argument is not an argument, right? And haven't you ever been in the situation where you said, hey, so-and-so said blah, 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 and then the person you tell it to gets really mad at you and starts arguing back at you as if you had said that, right? And that's the mistake of treating a report of an argument as an argument. Everybody got that? So make sure that you can distinguish between the report of an argument and an argument. That being the case, though, just because something is a report of an argument, you should think about the argument and decide for yourself whether or not it's good or what? Bad. So let's think about this argument for a moment, okay? Is God omniscient? What does that mean? What does omniscient mean? Yeah. How many of you that believe in God vote that God is all-knowing? Maybe. You guys just don't want to be trapped, right? You're chickens. So if God's all-knowing, doesn't he know what you're going to do before you do it? I see nods of yes. If God knows what you're going to do before you do it, can you not do it?
You don't know everything.
It doesn't matter. I'm just asking. Can you not do it?
No.
Okay. Then how the hell is it that you think that you have free will? Because you're going to have to do what God knows you're going to do. You couldn't do otherwise. And having free will means you could have done otherwise, but you can't. And yet Christianity says everybody has free will. What the hell? This makes no sense. Defend yourself.
I think he knows all the possibilities. of what
Oh,
good is.
Jesus, no pun intended. He knows all the possibilities. Does God know which of all the possibilities you will actually take?
It's,
All right.
well, it's more so not free will exactly what you're gonna do, it's more so free will you have a choice to choose if you're gonna go, not meaning to quote Star Wars, the good side or the bad side. It's like from the beginning you have free will.
You got different
You
paths.
still have-
Doesn't God know from the beginning what your first choices will be?
I mean, yeah.
But by the fact that he doesn't intervene in a certain extent to basically say, I know you're gonna do X, Y, Z, but I'm gonna allow you to still make that decision.
Yeah, but given that he knows what you're going to do, could you not do it?
If it ever has, if he tells you.
No. God knows that you are going to do X, whatever X might be. Is it ever possible for you not to do what God knows you're going to do?
No, because he knows what you're gonna do.
Right. So you cannot not do it. And if you cannot not do something, how can you say that you have free will when you're doing it?
Because the free will's taken out of context.
What the hell do you mean?
Like, it's not free will, like, you have the ability to make up your mind, your full conscience is free will, if you're gonna choose to go with him or go with him not, like, that's what it means, like, so you have the choice in the beginning.
You have the choice. Does God know whether you're going to go to heaven or hell from before your birth?
Yes.
Then how could you do anything about it?
Suppose you do what he tells
Wait.
you.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
I'm saying like free will is like saying God isn't forcing anyone from the beginning to follow him.
I'm saying you don't have free will if he knows what you're going to do,
Okay,
because it's incompatible, right?
I agree if you say it in that way, yes.
Well, that just means I undermined your whole religion. Yes?
What if it's like, God is like the writer, and you're like a character in a movie, and, like, your choices are predetermined by him, but you're just like playing them out,
Well, that would mean you don't have free will.
right?
But, and then they would say, but we have free will, and I would say, what?
Well, there's no logic in faith. I mean, if you look at
Oh,
logic-
Jesus, didn't we already talk about this? You're now doing what? He's mysterious.
Well, I'm saying because I do agree with your logical.
But you're gonna believe anyway.
Believe to not believe.
Sir, allow me to use this example. There was this man by the name of Jonas that was sent to preach the gospel. And on the way, he decided to turn away from his destination. And, well, God knew all the possibilities, yes, but he still allowed him to get on the boat, to travel away from the destination until he faced consequences that brought him back on track. At that point of time, I'll say Jonah still thought he had free will to run away from God. And yet, he ended up fulfilling, his call.
Okay. Given that God knew that he would fulfill his call, could he not fulfill his call?
He could have, but
That would make God wrong.
I mean, I know exactly what, example he's talking about. I believe that maybe we have the wrong definition of free will.
We
We're-
do.
In this argument, we're saying free will is God saying, he knows already, he's all knowing, he knows what you're gonna do, so you can't go against that, like, it interacts with each other. But in terms of religion, free will is saying that he didn't force you to follow him.
But that's not what free will.
Well, what I understand free will is as a standard is set out. This is what righteousness is. You have a choice on if you wanna follow this path or another path. So basically, I'm not gonna force you to do the right thing. You have the ability to choose if you wanna do the right thing, if you wanna follow me.
Alright, so what you guys are all falling back on is that you're making a choice. And now I'm gonna argue that making a choice is not the same thing as having free will. Okay. Anyone know who Patricia Hearst is? Okay, this happened well before before you came into the world. The Hearst family is this very rich family in California. You can go visit the Hearst Castle. That was the family home. They owned all the newspapers and chain of grocery stores and stuff. Wealthy family. Okay. Well, there was this radical group, the Symbionese Liberation Army, that kidnapped Patricia Hearst. Okay, and they were demanding ransoms and stuff like that. Not the normal kind of ransom. They were for social justice or whatnot. So they would say, "Hey, we want you to open your grocery stores this Sunday and let those who are in need help themselves to whatever they need for free," and stuff like this. Okay. And so the authorities are trying to locate Patricia Hearst and free her from her captors, and they're not having much success at it. This goes on for days and days and weeks and months and months. Okay, what's happening to Patricia in the meantime? Well, they've got her locked in a closet, okay, in the dark, and she doesn't know whether it's day or night, and they slip in food and they give her a bucket, and this kind of stuff, and they're also talking to her through the door at all times, especially when she's trying to sleep. Your father is a capitalist pig dog, exploiter of the masses, blah 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 blah. What are they doing?
They're not arguing, they're just stating.
Well, they're given reasons,
Oh.
but brainwashing. Everyone understand this? They're trying to brainwash her, okay? And, you know, this goes on for week after week. Imagine that, stuck in a closet in the dark and sleep deprivation, and they're saying all this stuff. And it finally gets to the point where they think, hey, we can let her out, she's not gonna run away. And they do let her out, and she doesn't run away, okay? Because what's happened? She wants to be part of the group, and so she actually changes her name to Tanya or Tanya or something, okay? And so the FBI, remember the FBI, they're trying to find her and rescue her, and the next thing, they finally see her, they get sight of her, robbing a bank with her buddies, okay? So at some point, the group said to Tanya, we're short on cash, we're gonna rob a bank, you want in on it? And she said, yes. So she made a choice. Does everybody understand that? Okay. But I would say that's not an act of free will. If brainwashing is possible, she made a choice, but she couldn't have made a choice otherwise. Does everybody understand that? And so she made a choice, but she couldn't do otherwise. Right? And in the case that God knows what you're going to do, you do make a choice to do what you do, but how is it possible for you to have done other than you did if God knew what you were going to do? Impossible. And therefore, you don't have free will. So free will is not making a choice. Free will is the ability to have done other than you did in the very same circumstances. So you can think about that, and remember think about that. Oh, that's God's punishment. Right, and you can all scoot back in case he sends a lightning bolt and doesn't have good aim. Maybe we'll revisit this argument later, okay? Because I can undo that argument, but you can't. But you need to be able to if someone throws that your way. Does everybody understand that? So will remind me for us to talk about that. Yes?
So how would that be a valid, arguable argument when you're basing it off of like 15 different beliefs and faith and in God?
So wait, look, I'm asking you, hey, those who believe in God, is God omniscient? Right? Some might say, well, I don't believe in God, so they're out. Or they might say, I believe in God, but he's not omniscient, right? So they're out. Or some people might say, I believe in God, but my God is omniscient, and omniscient means only that God knows everything that has been and is the case, but he doesn't know the future. Because if I ask, hey God, what's Todd gonna do tomorrow? God might say, hey, how the hell would I know? Todd has free will, right? But the problem is most of Christianity believes that not only does God know the past and the present, he also knows what? The future. So if you believe God is omniscient and his omniscience includes knowledge of the future, you got some explaining to do. Does everybody understand that?
So you're only arguing with somebody basically who believes in your premises? Or
Yes, but the thing is, most Christians believe in all those premises. And so I'm saying, here's a problem for you.
That stressed me out. That's gonna.
Did I say I would stress people out in this class?
No, sir.
Yes, I did. Okay, I didn't use those exact words, but I think it says in the syllabus, the opinions expressed by the professor might not necessarily be his own, and if you can't handle your core beliefs being challenged, don't take this class, or drink beforehand, or
I'm up for the challenge.
What?
I'm up for the challenge.
Okay, well, good. That should be your attitude.
Convenient.
Because either you knock me down or you learn that you're wrong. We'll see. Please don't stress out. No anxiety. I got pills for that. Okay. I don't even. Was that a question or a stretching? Okay. Thank God. What What was the last thing I talked about before I went on this tangent?
Reporting an argument's not an argument.
Oh yeah, and then we thought about the argument. Why do we do that? I don't know. Okay, moving on. Is this an argument? If you take the vaccine, then you're less likely to become ill from the virus. No. Okay, that kind of a sentence, an if-then sentence, so something that says something like this: if A, then B. If-then statements are known as conditionals. Okay, so an if-then statement is known as a conditional. Okay, and this part of an if-then statement, the part between the if and the then, is called the antecedent. Antecedent. And the then part is called the consequent. Okay. So notice what the conditional is doing. It's saying if A, then B. So they're saying there's a relationship between them, right? Does it offer any evidence that that relationship exists? No. So conditional statements by themselves are what? Not arguments. Does everybody understand that? Conditional statements by themselves are not arguments. But conditional statements can be used in arguments.